Hello, everybody. This is Warren from the Rhapsody Piano Studio. Hope you guys had a lovely weekend. Welcome to today's live lesson. We're going to be learning, what is this called? Gabriel's Oboe from the movie, I believe it's called The Mission. I haven't seen it myself, but anything. I just kind of realized this composer, how important he was. Ennio Morricone. Like, I had no idea. All these amazing soundtracks and music that he composed. Very cool. Anyway, this is for intermediate piano. This is going to be for D. It's going to be in D major most of the time. And also, when you are done with this lesson, you want to think of this as a step-by-step practice instructions. I'm teaching you how to practice here. The only way for you to really absorb this knowledge is to try to test yourself out by using one of my tutorials. Links will be in the cards and description after the live stream is over, and also the sheet music will be there as well. Okay, yeah, it's okay, Morgan. When you multitask, you can eat and play at the same time. How about that? Okay, last thing before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and just make so, just so you can catch all these notifications that all the lessons and tutorials that I'm posting every day. Make sure to hit that notification bell too, because sometimes YouTube isn't that good at reminding some of my audience members and subscribers when my videos go out. Hi Janice, how are you doing today? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to practice this. Here we go. And actually, I want to break down that first measure before we keep going. It's pretty much a simple scale going up. And then you see here, it's weird, they have like fermatas at the end. And then you start. So I actually wouldn't make these fermatas exactly the same length. If you don't know what a fermata is, you basically are going to hold whatever note it is for about twice as long. So this is a eighth note, and you're going to hold it for about the length of a quarter note. It doesn't have to be exact, okay? In fact, you don't want to make it exact because it kind of sounds too robot-like if you do it that way. So I'm kind of trailing off here. I'm purposely making the second one a little bit longer, and then I'm starting, okay? So if you want, you can follow along with me. Ready, go. Okay. Yeah, I might take this a little bit faster too, because 48, the tempo is really slow. So it's kind of hard for me to play at that speed for this particular piece, but I will try to slow it down as much as possible. All right, we're going to keep going. To turn the page there. There's a lot to break down already within this, okay? Hence the intermediate thing, okay? So we're actually going to go back. We're going to do smaller parts at a time, and we're going to break it up into hands separate. So that's kind of the first step of this process. Small part, hands separate. Unfortunately, it can't really give you measuring numbers because they don't write any in here, which is always a pet peeve of mine for a lot of pianists as well. It's just we hate getting music when there's no measuring numbers, okay? It's like, would you like to read a book without page numbers in it? I don't think so, right? So unfortunately, you just kind of have to follow along. There's no words in this either. So, sorry, it's just no measurement numbers, okay? All right, so from the beginning, with just the right hand now. And it also says expressively with freedom from the first measure. I don't think that's a good way to practice from the beginning. If you're kind of above this level, you might be able to get away with it. But if this is kind of a challenge for you, you definitely want to practice with the rhythm as precise as possible before you kind of play with a freedom, okay? Whatever that means. Like, just think of it as rubato. So I'm going to try to keep it just straight. All right, so we're just going to pretty much do that much from the beginning. You notice? And then if you look at the next measure here, now we have 16ths, goes a little bit faster. Now it does go faster. When you play faster notes, the hard thing is trying to keep it as musical as possible and not make it sound like a technical thing, right? Right? It's like a scale. So you want to think all the time. Once you get beyond a certain level, once this music is easier for you, it's like you're kind of singing the notes. So I just don't want to make it sound like, you know, like I'm on a typewriter. Okay, but this is a little bit of an advanced idea. So from the beginning, remember, be careful with those. I shouldn't, not 16th notes, 32nd notes. Okay. All right, from the beginning, let's try that together. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Ready, go. And I just thought of another idea that would help you guys to practice with correct rhythm. It does say 48. 48 for the quarter note value. Sometimes it's really difficult to play that slow. I have problems with that too. So I think a more effective approach might just be to double that, right? So instead of playing 48, my math is terrible with this. What is that? 196? 8? Yeah, okay. 96. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we're gonna double that 96, and instead of that being the beat for a quarter note, the 96 is going to be for every eighth note. In my opinion, that's a lot easier to count. Okay. All right. Here's the left hand. Okay, a lot to break down there. Welcome back, Morgan. So this one you do have to use a bit of a pedal because it just does not sound good without pedal. So here and there, and this is not going to be a pedal masterclass, I'm sorry, I kind of teach you how to pedal right here. But see, because they want the half notes here. I mean, you can't hold this at the same time and repeat it, okay? So they have half notes here, and then they have this on top, that pattern. So you definitely have to do some pedaling here. How much is really up to you. Make sure you just listen carefully. You don't want it to sound too muddy. Really depends on the type of piano you have. Okay, so that's that measure using pedal. Then here's what I use here. So we have a whole note on the bottom, or not whole note, half note on the bottom. Then we have eighth notes here. And I use a 3, 1. At the same time, this is very difficult to do. I switch to 5 on the bottom. That frees me up to play 2, 4 here. And then 1, 3. Okay, I'll just play without explaining. Alright, why am I doing this? Well, because, you know, I don't want to use pedal as much as possible and use this little finger, I forget what you call it, finger change, finger pedal, whatever you want to call it. It helps me to get away with not using a lot of pedal, okay? Because you don't want to depend on it too much. And if you have an old piano like mine, you can't. The pedal's not too great on this, so I have to use it a little bit here and there. I can't use the full pedal most of the time. New pianos, you can get away with that. So, and then here, this is actually difficult to do. Okay, I'll play this without any pedal whatsoever. Trying to make all that legato. Very difficult to pull off. Okay. All right, so that's a bit of this section here. I don't know if I can break it down for every section like this, because that would make this lesson like 2 hours long. So we'll see as we go. I'll try to make it short for you guys. All right, here we go. From the left hand, beginning, ready, go. Here, 5, 4, kind of difficult to play. This might take some practice too. Okay, so this is intermediate, but man, this piece takes a lot of control, especially this arrangement. I like it a lot. Okay, all right, now we just go back into both hands. Both hands with this piece, doing pedaling, it makes it that much more difficult because now you have more notes to think about. Okay, all right. So, you know, I'm not gonna do this here, but when you practice, definitely a good idea to practice with no pedal at all to see where you actually need it. Okay, here we go. Both hands, ready, go. going. So this is the basic process, right? We have one part, then you split that up, hand separate if needed. Okay, sometimes you don't need to always. So these aren't just like rules. Well, they are kind of rules, but you have to know when to break rules, right? And then once you finish that part, now I'm just going to show you the next section. And can you guess what's the next step after this? All right. Well, I'm going to continue on. So it's about the next 1, 2, 3 measures. And then also I forgot to mention, I am stopping one note into the next part, because if you do that, you automatically connect it to the next section. You create kind of like a bridge. If you don't do that, it's not connected, then you actually have to spend time practicing that. Okay. Kind of like Pac-Man for some reason. Okay, so let's do the right hand. I'm gonna skip that first note because that is a tie. So here's where I'm gonna take it from. Have triplet notes here, and then here they said to play this with the left hand, but that's just a visual thing. I actually think it's easier to take it with your right hand, the thumb. So we do this here. Let me just show you. So that connects to the right hand, and then this note connects to the chord in the left hand. Okay, so I'll just play it by itself. My dogs agree. Okay, so we're gonna try that together. It's kind of awkward place to start, like in the middle of that measure, but just try it with me, okay? Ready, go. Yeah, so that part, gosh, so loud. Might be better just do both hands here. If not, to just show you how to, break that part. How it breaks down when you do hand separate. Okay, here's just left hand. Let me make sure I'm not plugged in here. Yes, I am. Okay. I hate when the power goes out. I forget to plug in the camera. All right, left hand. Now see here, you have to pedal. And you can pedal a lot more here because it's the same harmony, okay? So we have half notes here, but you're gonna repeat these notes, so you obviously, no pedal sounds like that. So use some pedal here. Now here, there's no way to hold this the whole entire measure. So these are kind of like artistic interpretations, okay? He just wants you to have a sense that this note is long. You can. See? When you get to the top, you already have to let that go. So it's a whole note, right? If you pedal the whole thing, it sounds like this. Just way too much pedal for this piano, okay? So I hold this as long as possible. When it starts to get too muddy, I let go of the pedal. And the right hand. So when we do practice that, we're gonna take the right hand on that F sharp right there, so you can hear that connection better. Okay? All right. Here we go. Ready? Go. Now onto both hands. I am moving through these steps really fast. Remember, this is just a basic format. I'm not saying you just play it once and then you move on. So you kind of need to take some time. Maybe you need to practice hands separate enough until it becomes automatic before you put both hands together. Okay? All right, but I'm gonna play both hands now. Okay, try it together. Ready? Go. Okay, so what's the next step after this? Take some time to think about it. Hit that pause button if you want. The answer is you take one part, another part, now we put it together. So we're going to go back to the beginning. Now I'm going to show you hands separate, hands together. Okay? Very beginning. Yeah, I'll include that first measure. So here's just the right hand. Well, they play with the one, sorry. Okay, try that at the same time. Ready, go. All right, there's a rest. So let's play the first note here. Ready, go, like. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Ready, go. Easier that way. Okay, now the left hand. Such a beautiful piece, this one. All right. Kind of hard to count this because you kind of need the right hand in context. So this first measure might be easier to just do both hands. Because how long you hold this note depends on how long you hold the right hand, okay? Now just the left hand. Mike, I don't have my translator here. I don't have no idea what you're saying. Okay, back to the beginning, both hands together. Ready, go. Actually, something I want to mention. You do hold these for the half notes, holding notes and playing the other ones at the same time. I'm just going to pretend you said something very extremely positive. Thank you, Micah. So you hold these, you're doing it at the same time. Make it look easy, but it's really not easy to do. So a little finger control, okay? That takes some time. If you haven't done anything like this, then this is going to be quite a learning curve for you, okay? All right, from the beginning, ready, go. Whoop, missed a note. Oh, 你很喜欢哦. Okay, well, I appreciate that. This is I like it too. Now we go back, both hands together. Alright, now you're making my wife's type in Chinese with you guys. Okay, let's try it together from the beginning. Ready, go. I can actually read that. My Chinese is basic enough to understand. Micah's Chinese is very good. All right, let's keep going. Next section here. So, it's basically the rundown of how to practice this correctly. Okay. I am going to give you some longer sections now. We're not going to do small parts at a time. One, to save you guys time, because this lesson is taking. You see, just this process alone took me about 20 minutes to show you guys. All right. And that's also another thing to keep in mind. When you practice this, you kind of have to pick and choose what sections you're going to practice at certain times, because you can't just go through the whole song like this, whole piece, okay? If you do this way, it might take you like 2-3 hours in a day, and I kind of doubt you have the time to do that, okay? So you have like 30 minutes, maybe you have 15, 20, 45. Really do yourself a favor. Sit down with some paper, really plan out your days, how you're going to practice it. A lot of people feel like, oh, this, I don't want to do it. It takes so much time. I don't want to do. Who plans their day out? It's kind of, boring. And first, but I'm telling you, you take maybe 5-10 minutes to write down a plan for that day. And the more you write down your plan, the better you get at it, by the way. So it might take you 5-10 minutes. But think about it. 5-10 minutes to write a plan, that might save you a half hour or even an hour in unproductive time. Okay? All right, here's the next part. Wrong note. Where am I? Oh gosh, okay. I was in the wrong key. I tend to do that sometimes. There's a retardando here. I'm not going to slow it down. Okay, and then here, next part, it's like you can hear it's like the beginning of a new section, both in the way he's writing it. It's more active in the left hand. So he's kind of taking the main theme and making it more elaborate. Okay, all right. So that was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 measures at a time. Then we stop where it says tempo. Some parts to break down where it might be difficult, not so much the right hand, but the left hand. First measure here, they have the C sharp and the D extremely close together. I take it with a 5-4 pinky right here. Kind of hard if you get a finger control, right? I'm trying to hold this. I'm not playing any pedal. So one thing is just playing both notes at the same time might be difficult, because the first time I show students to do this, they have a really hard time playing it together because they lack finger control. But you'll get more of it if you practice this one for sure. All right, so keep going. Next measure here. I like to roll that because holding this, it kind of stretches my hand and I don't like the feeling of it. So it's just a visual thing. You don't have to play it the way they're telling you. If I hold this, it feels uncomfortable. So I just roll it, I let go. And I use a little pedal, and then here, no pedal. Now here, see, look, they have quarter note values on the bottom. So this line here, so you're gonna hold it like this. See that? And then, so that's what's going on there. Okay, here, you don't have to hold that. Okay, it's a whole note, yeah, but still, I like to just let go when appropriate. Then here, you can, if you can reach an octave, you can hold that for the full value, okay? So here are some measures where you can actually do that. You can't do that in every single measure. See that? All right, let me show you all that with that explanation. Sorry, note didn't come out because I got an old piano. Moving down. Next part. Okay. For the means, yes, just do it for the means. Thank you. It is a really pretty song. I'm getting more familiar. I kind of, it's sad when you get familiar with like a composer only when they pass away. But just really, I read his like obituary. Like, man, he composed so many famous pieces and songs. It kind of makes me wonder, maybe my next project should be like a collection of all of his most famous pieces. That would be pretty cool, right? Okay, let's try that together before we do the right hand now. Ready, go. Why is that not coming out? Yeah. The only other composer that comes to mind when I think of this guy is like Steven Spielberg. John Williams. There you go. Yeah. As prolific as that dude. I wonder why is John Williams so much more popular than this guy? They kind of have the same stature in my opinion. All right, right hand. I thought that was a tie for a second. That's too short, but we'll keep going. Sorry. So four beats, 1, 2. But I'm not gonna hold it. You get the point. All right, right hand here. Ready, go. Okay, so what is that? You need to go. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I think you need to go. All right. Well, thanks for. I can't read that bottom line. Thanks, Micah. I'll see you later, I guess. All right, back to both hands. 再见. That note finally came out. Huh. Okay, we can try that together. Ready, go. Okay, how many pages do we have left? Oh, there's a couple more. All right, we're pretty much almost halfway through here. Yeah. So whoever's still here, or if you're watching after the live stream is over, okay, if you like this video so far, smash that like button. Okay, lets me know that you guys are really doing well with what I'm teaching you here, or that you just like the video in the first place. And do me a favor, after the video's over, would love it if you could share this video with people as well. That'd be really cool of you. All right, let's keep going. There we go. So you hear it, the right hand is very similar to the beginning. The only part you really need to practice, in my opinion, was that last measure. And that's it. So I also show you another reason why you need to practice small parts at a time, because sometimes the sections are repetitive. If you play the whole thing from beginning to the end, you see that this could be a potential time waster. Okay? So here I would just practice that last measure. Okay, that jump is kind of difficult. Okay, so get a handle on that from octave to octave. just go back and forth a bunch of times. A really good way to practice actually for jumps, and this is in my experience, if you play it slow, as soon as you're ready, just move to the next part as fast as possible, like that. Okay, and then do it again. This is good for two reasons. The more you do it over and over, I mean, it's accurate, but you're also training muscle memory. You can even go an octave higher. And anyway, going faster or an octave higher, what I like is you actually make it harder than what's written on the music. So then you go back to, let's say you're doing this, an octave higher, okay? You can't go 2 octaves because you run out of keys, but an octave higher, you get the point. Then you go back and play it normally, and you don't even have to go that fast. It's a lot easier, okay? It's kind of like this idea of, let's say, martial artists who fight competitively. I like sports, so just small sports metaphor here if you do not like it. Or like football or basketball, you want to make the practice very difficult. That way you make the actual performance, like the game, right? It's a lot easier than actual practice. And I just read this in a book about NASA, right? Like astronauts. Their training is very incredibly difficult, so when they get to space, it's a piece of cake. Same idea here, okay? All right, so that's the only part you need to practice in the right hand. Let's try it together. Ready, go. Okay, now the left hand, definitely need to practice this. A lot more activity here. And some jumping, so these jumps in between you kind of have to practice if you're not used to it. Same idea of showing you with the octaves. Just slow down. Now this, same idea, but more difficult, okay? You have a roll there. This pattern is the same. Here. Come out, nope. Okay, so it's kind of hard, right? So we have basically A major arpeggio, which is why you should practice your scales and arpeggios, all the way to jumping down to the forte here. So you can actually hear, I don't know if I do this in the video, but you could take some time. And then back to regular tempo, okay? It's not cheating. All right. Let's go back to the odd tempo from the previous part. Piano, let's try it together. Left hand, ready, go. And back to both hands. Okay, ready, go. Daydreaming there. All right, we're gonna keep going, and this section is what I'm looking at. It looks like the most difficult section here. So look at that. When you also divide it this way, you can pick and choose your battles. So if you have a longer time to practice, this is a section I would practice a lot more. Other parts are not. It's not like the other parts are easier or easy. Okay, yeah, they're a little easier, you know, than this section here. Okay. All right, now the right hand. I'll just show you both hands here. Well, that's awkward. 5-1. Wow, another jump. Okay, let me try that again. That's a total disaster. I'm going. So I'm reading that wrong. There we go. lot of stuff going on in this section. It's giving me some fits. Okay, a lot of octaves in the right hand. If you're first time playing octaves, this is gonna take a while. Octaves are very hard to play. One of the hardest things to get right in piano technique. It's like kind of like almost at the top there. Okay. Because what you have to do with octaves here is not to make it sound like a technical exercise. Okay, so a lot of small motions if you can. Then here, it's even harder because we have 16th notes, but you still want to make it sound beautiful. Same thing here. So it's almost like it's almost like if I'm doing this right, it sounds like I'm playing it this way with two hands. It won't be exactly because we have the thumb. Okay, so really go slow here. Because as weird as this may seem, this is a sound exercise. Are you getting the right sound from note to note? It's like da 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 with my horrible singing voice, right? Instead of da 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 da, right? Okay. Same thing here. We have a lot of little leaps here. Want to make it sound like that? Right. So it just kind of reminds me of a famous quote where they say the whole point of piano technique is not to play as fast or fancy as possible, is to make the music sound as beautiful as possible. Okay. All right. Right hand. Let me play it again for you because I butchered it the first time. Okay. By the way, I haven't really told you where to connect, but you basically divide this piece into 1, 2, 3 sections, okay? And then it's up to you to figure out where those 3 sections are. Yeah, because I'm not gonna play the whole thing for you. That's what the tutorial is for. Okay, let's try that together from the same place. Forte, ready, go. By the way, if you guys think I'm going too fast, there's something called the playback button. A lot of comments I get, they're apparently not aware of it. So if you hit the playback speed, you can slow it down to a speed that is workable for you. Okay, left hand here, much more active. I like to roll that. The right way, you should hear this descending line. There's a tenuto mark there, so that's what they're going for. Cool, right? Okay, we'll try it together. I will play this part left hand a lot slower because it is kind of tricky to pull off all that. Ready, go. Something at the same time here. When you get the separation, repeat the notes. Again, don't make it sound like. Okay, they have 2 slurs right there, but you basically still want to think of it as one group. Like just repeat a note. It's not really separated. Think of it as still the same line. Same thing here. All even, okay? Kind of hard to pull off, but you know, I believe in you. Okay, back to both hands. Do that again. sound exactly like that. You get my point. Ready, go. Okay, now this last part is what we're gonna call the coda. So you think you have the beginning section, then we have the middle section where it gets more busier in the left hand. The theme is kind of the same, develops a little bit, and now here we have the coda. So those are the big parts I would aim for if I were you, if I were practicing this. Okay, so we have the coda here. After we finish this coda, we're going to, I'm gonna give you a quick recap, okay? If you don't want to stick around for the recap, go ahead and take off after the coda is over. Fine, be that way. But yeah, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. All right, here we go. Before we go back and do the hands separate, we look at, there are some time signature changes. We have 3/4, 3 beats to a measure instead of the typical 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, same thing here. 1, 2, 3. And then here we have a 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then back to 4, although it's like 8 beats because there's a fermata there, okay? So just wanted to break down those time signature changes for you, okay? Because if you don't think of it, you'll be like, why does this part sound kind of awkward with the rhythm? Okay, right hand. It's pretty straightforward. Let me just play it for you. This part, hard to count without the left hand. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if not with the metronome, make sure you're counting all that in your head. Okay, if you want to do yourself a favor, just use a metronome and count at the same time. All right, right hand, ready, go. Okay, now the left hand, more arpeggio patterns. This, when you go really slow, when you get to this F sharp, I'm actually connecting that with the pedal, hear that? With this E, kind of hard to pull off. Alright, but that's how it looks in slow motion. It's easier to count with the left hand for obvious reasons. Make sure you get that roll. Make it sound as pretty as possible. Okay, let's try this left hand together. Ready, go. No, let me do that one more time. Sorry about that. Keep daydreaming. Ready, go. Alright, now both hands here. Oh, this was a long lesson today. Ready? Let me play it first. You can even take some time there. I'm probably not doing it that well. No problem there. If you want to do that. Okay, let's try this together and I'll wrap it up with a quick recap at the end. Ready? If you're gonna leave after, then thank you for your time. Ready, go. Oh, that's a B. Gosh. Ready, go. Okay, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that. It's a really beautiful piece, really nice arrangement. I love it when those two things come together. All right, thank you for your time. This was Gabriel's Oboe by the late great Ennio Morricone. Really good arranger too, by the way. Look for this name a lot, Philip Keverin. If you see his name, chances are it's a really good arrangement. He's pretty good at it. Okay, so this was in D major, and my arrangement is about 4 pages, though it might be different the type you buy. Okay, yeah, just get the sheet music, by the way. You kind of need it. Yeah, and the way to practice, it basically showed you here. This is intermediate, but this also applies for advanced. This also applies for easy. This also applies for a beginner. Every level. Okay, you want to pick one part, the smallest part that you can manage. Once you pick that part, you do hand separate practice if necessary, because sometimes you don't need to, because some sections you find it repeats, which is also another reason to practice small parts at a time. Okay, so you do hand separate, then you go back to hands together. By the way, it's not just, there's no magic number, just do it as enough times as is necessary to get it right. Okay, because some people complain like, I can't get it. It's like, how many times did you try it? 1 time. It's like, no. Okay, nah. If they realize sometimes at my level it's taking me hundreds of times, and anyway, then you pick the next part. You do the same thing, hand separate, hands together. Then, when possible, you start to connect those into bigger and bigger sections, okay? And remember to plan out your days when you're practicing, because, look, it took me about an hour and almost 2 hours here to break this down for you guys, okay? You guys are probably not even going to get it in 2 hours, depending on what level you're at, okay? And if you do get it under 2 hours, then this probably, wait, not 2 hours. This almost took me an hour to show you. Sorry about that. Man, it felt like 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, so if you think about it, you're not going to get this done in an hour, most likely. If you do get it done in an hour, this music is probably too easy for you, or it's right at your level. You can pick several songs at this level if you want, okay? But plan out your days of practice, because most likely you'll probably have to choose maybe the first page and just work one entire day on that. So really plan it out. It helps a lot, okay? And then watch this lesson as many times as is necessary. Sometimes people, again, they only say, how many times did you watch lesson? And before you start to complain that you can't get it right. And like, once. Why can't I just get it immediately, Don't be one of those people, okay? Watch this lesson as many times as necessary. Watch all my other lessons. This is the same idea, same concepts on practicing correctly that I'm showing you here. So it's going to be the same thing, It might get boring for you after a while. It doesn't for me, because I know this process works, okay? So again, last thing, lessons, practice instructions, tutorials, more like your own test, pop quiz, okay? All right, so that was it. That was the recap. Once again, thank you guys so much for your time. Hit that like button, subscribe on your way out. Hope to see you guys next time. Have a fun and amazing day, amazing week, amazing month, amazing year, okay? See you guys next time. Happy practicing. Thumbs up.